And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Pizza Gaming PS4 and to Rupert Gamer TV. How are you guys today? And it's nice to see you here. Anyway, last night we kind of mucked around. I was at. There's lots of things I could work on, but I was looking for working on something different from what we were working on previously, which I can't even remember what it was. Oh yeah, it was getting saving working, right? So there's a couple of things I have been mulling around in my head, which are basically, this is probably going to have to turn into a third person controller. I know it is kind of a third person controller at the moment, but what I mean is like have a robot on the ground or something, or a man or whatever, in the shades of Satisfactory look. Okay? And with that in mind, we also need a way to build quickly, right? Because, let me demonstrate. This is a box site, okay? Now, with this all set up, basically what you need to do is hit this button, then select this conveyor belt, right? If I want to draw a conveyor belt. So, the idea... Hey, Kofi, how you doing, mate? Not seen you for a couple of days. And I'm good before you ask. How are you? Right, so with this in mind, I was going to kind of make this into an animated menu. Okay, I'll show you what I mean by that. We'll actually do it for a laugh. Okay, but what I'd started working on was a hotbar. And this is what we came up with last night. Okay? So, if we compare this... Oops. Right. So, if we compare this to, for example, this. Right? You can see that this is going to actually become quite difficult to kind of muck around with, right? And doesn't give the player very much room to like make their own hotbar, right? So the idea here was to make this into a hotbar. Okay, and it does work, you can see, right? So we can use it right now, but the problem being that, number one, we need to make it so that the player can actually change it, right? That's problem number one. Now, I can do that with drag and drop, okay? But the issue now becomes that I need a way of displaying all of the stuff that can be dragged and dropped into this particular hotbar, okay? Or indeed, which hotbar? Because if we have like the secondary one, which is for connectors and splitters and stuff, right? It's going to be the same, right? But obviously we have a second hotbar. which means that this menu here is going to have to change. Hey UE4 Gamer. So, we have this hotbar, which is cool and all that, but we can't really change it at the moment, so we've got a lot of background work to do on this, because we're going to need to set up variables that are saved, and these buttons are actually just going to be numbers that are linked to a reference in a data table, which is going to give us what the information that we need for this. Okay, so fundamentally this menu here is going to have to change, right? Which is fine, I'm not too upset about that. But what I think we're going to have to do is we're going to have an overall like hotbar. Like we're going to have a hotbar button here, right? Where you can drag things into the hotbar from another widget. Okay? So with that in mind, what I was actually thinking as well was if this hotbar is going to be on the screen, right? We don't actually need this on the screen all the time. Okay? And with that in mind, what we're going to do is we're going to adjust this menu and make it look cool. Or not cool, but we're going to animate it a bit. Okay? So we're going to take a look at our main menu. Right? And this is it here. And that's the wrong menu. That's the main menu. So this is the game menu. Right? So where is our main game menu? Here it's here, and here it's here. Okay. So this is pulling all the stuff. So we're adding the buttons here. And it's adding it to CP buttons. Okay. So that is CP buttons. And what we're actually going to do now is we're going to add an animation. Okay. So we're going to be moving it on the X, and we're going to be moving it basically I'm going to say we're going to move it to -200. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to add an animation, and we're going to say slide buttons. Okay. Then we're going to come in here. And we're going to say CP buttons. And it is we're going to do that. I'm going to get a track. Then we're going to say transform. Actually, let's delete that. The question is, alignment. Right? We're going to say X. And let's make it 1.5 seconds. Okay. And we'll delete that. And that's weird. Right, so we come to here. And that is going to be minus 200. So we save that. And it actually looks like we have to do plus on this. Okay. It doesn't look as if it needs anywhere near 200. Okay, so from that we've got slide buttons, right? And then what we need to do is we need to go into our controller . Right, and we shall do this on another button. Let's call it B. Right, so we're going to do that, duplicate, right, and we're going to select B for no other reason than it's just the first letter that came to my head that I don't think I'm using, right? And in here, the question is, and we should now, do we have a reference to the main menu? I think we should. Widget refs, main menu. Okay. Okay. So we say slide, get slide buttons, reverse, Okay. Didn't mean to do that, but bring that over again. Drag this up a bit. Then from here, play animation forward. Right, now it starts on the screen, right? So we're okay with that. Okay. And now, if we play this, right? This number is still way too high. Right, so we need to stop this. We need to come to here. And this 50 number is, or whatever number it was, we need to see where it is. Right, so basically I'm going to say 50. Then save that. Okay. So now cool. Okay. Then we can bring up our hotbar or hide our hotbar. Slide that off. Slide it back in. And I think it's still a little bit too much. Might have to make it 30. Save that. Play. Continue. Okay, so right. Pretty cool, huh? Looking good. And there is our hotbar. Right, now, the interesting thing now is we need a blank slot for our hotbar, because we want our hotbar to be 10 units or 10 buttons, okay? But basically, if we don't have 10 buttons, we want it to pad out with nothing. Okay? So, from that point of view, what we want to do is get our buildings menu, and this is our individual building, right? but we want this to basically be blank, right? So we'll duplicate this and we'll call it individual building blank, right? And that is going to be hidden. And this button image is probably going to be hidden as well, or it's going to be nothing, right? So in our graph, we're probably not going to do anything, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through everything and basically disconnect it. Yep, that can get disconnected, and then I'll delete these later, but we basically want some way to do a blank. Okay, so the way we can do that is if we go to our Hotbar main and we look at the code, right? Then we basically get the call count okay, and then on completion right, I'm going to have to do a little bit of jiggery pokery here. In here, what we can do, we're going to be changing all this, but for the moment we just want to gradually build up our code, right? And we're going to say -1, or at least minus, right? So, well, we don't actually need to do that. So if this is less than 10, right? And in fact, we'd be better doing this in a function, right? So I'm going to create a function. So I'm going to say fill blanks, right? We're going to pass in an integer, blanks to fill, right? And that's going to be an integer. Okay, and we're probably going to need one more thing, which is going to be well, it's going to be UGP hotbar either way, so that's okay. this is going to be branch, and that's going to go there, and that's the connection menu, right? So we also actually want it up here. So that is going to go here. So next thing we're going to say is we're going to say fill blanks. And we are going to say get call count. And we're going to say minus. And it's going to be actually the other way around. So it's going to be that. And then this one is actually going to be a number. So that's going to be 10, because that's the number of buttons we want. And that is going to go into there. Right, so we can save that. And then we can now go into our fill blanks. Oops. We can go into here. We can get that. And we can say add child. Right, and we're going to say create widget. Create widget, and we're going to be looking for blank, individual building blank, and that's not going to be add child, that's going to be add child to uniform grid, which we're going to do. Then we're going to do that, we're going to do that, and we're going to do for loop, and we are going to say 1 to there. I'm going to join that on. Don't need to fill in these. Then our row is going to be 0, and that is going to be index plus call count. And that is going to go in our row, or column, sorry, and we can tidy that up later, and that should be us. So that should create blanks. Okay, and there we go. And it looks like this should be basically -1. Okay. Then we can go into here, which is an individual building blank. And we can actually clear that. And we can set that to 0. And this border is blue, so it's not that. Right. And let's see what we've got here. Cool. Cool, but we've still got this, whatever it is. Whatever that thing is. Right. So that's pressed. Right, there we go. And that's weird. So it looks like it's that button. Right. So that's 0, which is all fine. Can only imagine that it'll probably be the content. Well, this is super strange. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Oh, thanks, Pizza Gaming. What do you think's cool? Not sure what you think's cool, but yeah, I'll agree with you. It's pretty cool. So what we need to, not quite getting this right here. I don't know what's causing the white border on that, and there's something weird about this, that it's not starting up as fast as it normally does. And where are the actual buttons here? And we're going to need to take a look in Hotbar main, because it looks to me, right, that there's something weird going on. I might need to do a new game start or something here to speed this all up a bit and to check it. Right. That should say 4, which is correct. Right. Our call count is 6. So we are basically wanting it to be -1 from the call count, which is correct. And that's building blank. Right? But now we have nothing in here. So that's weird. Where this was working before, it ain't working now. Right, so that's cool. That's fine. Wow. No, that's okay. Right. Okay. It's individual button. Alright, that's just bizarre. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to kill this. Right? Right, we're going to hit H. And now we're getting nothing back. Right, what do we get if we do that? That's still okay. Oh god, I'm an idiot. Right. Basically, I changed the wrong one. Right, because I'm an idiot. It should be building blank that I should be changing. Right. So that's fine. And this this is not fine. Okay, and this should be nothing and nothing. That should be okay. And let's get this back to the way we wanted it. Resume. And there we go, we're back. Okay. But strangely, it has to be said, it's undone that, that's why. Right, so that should be us. Right, we can undo, disable that and resume, and we should be able to disable that and resume, and there we go. Right, so you can see now these have nothing, these all work, blah blah blah, and similarly we're going to tidy this up in a minute, but we just copy paste that into here, save that, we go back to our blank, and on our button image we set these to transparent as well. And that's that. Save that. And now our two sets of buttons on the hotbar should do exactly what we want. So there we go, we've got nothing there. Right? Nothing, nada. And if we click on this, same thing. Except we need the border on this, but we can copy that across nicely. And there we go. Beautiful. Working a treat. Then, of course, we can do our slidey offy thing. Okay. And that slides off and on, which is nice. And we could do the same for this, by the way. We could hit H, right? And rather than just pop up, we could have it sliding off the bottom and back up, if we wanted to. Right. So we are looking good. And at that point, I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break, grab a cigarette. I shall be back in a moment. If you're enjoying the stream or whatever, feel free to hit the like and subscribe, and check out the description for my Discord and Patreon and previous game in Steam, and I shall be back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Okay, guys, we're back. Now, if anybody's got any comments on maybe something you want to see done differently or whatever, let me know. Now, obviously, these mouse overs should basically do jack, right? So, from that point of view, if I remember rightly, I created or it's not got it. I basically went against my own advice, and I'm pretty sure I bound something. Yeah. Actually, no. So I'm looking for a bind tooltip text there, but it's not there. Ah, here it is. Right. So what I actually want to do with this one is remove that binding, because we don't want the tooltip text coming up on empty. Right, so you can see now nothing, whereas these give you your tooltip text. Okay, nothing for these because they shouldn't have anything. Right, and I think what we'll do is at the end of the day we'll stick like a question mark or something in there. But now what we need to do as we gradually build this up, as I said, is we need a way of interacting, right, with the different things so that we can drop stuff into our tooltip or hotbar, right? And also these should all have numbers under them as well. So like these should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 0. Okay. So as I said, we gradually build this up piece by piece, bit by bit. And we go to the designer for our actual individual building, and basically okay, so what we're actually going to have to do here is we're going to have to do a vertical box. Right, now we're going to put that in there. Right. And it's going to be just this that goes into the vertical box. Okay, and then what we're going to need now, as I said, I'm not 100% brilliant with in this vertical box is going to be that. just wondering here if I size this to content. Doesn't really matter. It probably is. So we're going to test this out. Well, 1. And then we're going to stick it there. But I'm not going to make it our usual simplifier. I'm going to make it future. Right? And it's going to be, let's say 32. Let's make it something else. Let's make it 4 for the now, just to test it. Yeah, we don't want that. We want Futura. And does Futura have a bold? No. We'll call it 40. We're going to save that. And we're going to see how this actually ends up looking. This might have screwed up everything, but we'll find out. Well, interesting. It's a bit too big, obviously. I wonder if we can change this. I wonder if this will change within. No. It did work though. I think we could go for 24 here and see how that goes. I'd say that looks pretty darn nice. Right? And now what we could actually, wait a minute. I think what we'll go for is 20. Right? And we're basically going to go for the same thing here. Right? So we're going to go vertical box in the canvas panel. Then we're going to drop our border into here. Then we're going to set our canvas, our thing like that. Then we're going to drop our text then to the vertical box. Right. And we're going to make that, let's say 5, just for a difference. And it's going to be Futura and 20. Save that. Compile put and go. And is Pizza Gaming still watching? Let me know if you're still watching Pizza Gaming, and I'll actually give you an oversight of the game. What's that? I have no idea what that is. Oh well. Right, so H. And that looks good to me. Stop that. And this text here, we're going to have to set these both up as variables, right? But that should be straightforward enough. Save that. And this is going to be txt t. Save that. Save that. And in here, we're going to have the same thing. This is going to be txt key. Okay, we're going to save that. And the next thing is in our hotbar main, right, we are going to set txt Did I set these as variables? Apparently I didn't. Save that. Back to this one. Yeah, I set that one to variable. Right, okay. So back to our hotbar main and set tx what? That's our connector button, right? So let's get it working in here first. txt key get then we set text okay, and we drag this out a bit. Right. Do that. Then we get our call count and we plug it into text, except the funny thing is, right, the thing is we actually add 1 plus 1 and that goes in there. We shall tidy that up in a second. Okay, so when we run this now, we get 1 2 3 4 5 6, and now we just need to do this the fill part. Okay, and then we need to make the exception for the 0, and I actually need to take a comfort break, so I shall be back in a moment or two. Sorry for the interruption, I'll be back in a second. Okay guys, sorry again about that little interruption, but we shall carry on now. And as you can see, our little calculation worked a treat. And we can basically do kind of the same thing right here. And this is going to go in here. Okay, it's not. And that's kind of not going to work. TXT. Yeah, that is the right thing. Connector button. Aha. Right. So we basically need to turn this into this. Right. So we need to wrap this with canvas panel. Okay. And that canvas panel, we should duplicate that. No, we don't want to do that actually. What we want to do is copy that. And then we want to paste it. Alright, we don't know what happened there. That was all a bit weird. We'll go back to here. We'll copy that. Paste it. And apparently it didn't want to do it, but there we go. Right, so now we're beginning to get something. And I'm guessing this image is going to be, yeah, full. Okay. And we now wrap this in a vertical box. Okay. And our vertical box is basically full as well. So we do that, we do that, we zero that, save that. And that's looking okay up until now. And finally, we copy that and we paste it in there. Okay, save that. And now we go back to our hotbar main and we get the text key. This plugs into here. Drag this up. Except not quite so much up. And we drag that in there. And we can drag that up a bit. And we should be able to do the same for this one. If we move this all to the right a bit, then grab this and drag that up a bit, and there we go. Save that. And now we should be able to go into here. And we should be able to get this, get the text key, drag that out a bit. And what we will do is we'll grab that and drag it down a bit, and we'll say set text. Drag it up a bit. Drag that to there. We shall drag this over a bit. Then this will go in here. And this can come down a bit. Then we shall straighten this up a bit. And that's fine. And that goes in there. We'll save that. And now we'll try it again, see how that goes. Okay. And it helps if we plug it in. And there we go. Except we don't take away one. Okay. So we're gradually building up to create our hotbar dynamically. Okay, so It's all good. That's looking great, right? Okay. And give me a second. Right, so next part is going to be if well, these are being created automatically, right, from a data table, which is cool. Now, the interesting thing here is what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to, in our controller, right, in here, we're going to have to create a widget, an array. Okay. So what we're going to have to do, again, we'll build this up slowly, is we're going to call this R building hotbar. Okay. And we're going to say it's a name. Okay, and the reason we're saying it's a name is because that is how, I'm pretty sure, we'll find out in a second, that is how our row names are stored, as you can see. Okay, so and it's coming from DT menu buildings. Okay, so what we can do is, if we looked at struct and data, we can look at our DT menu buildings, and we've got a row name. Okay, so in the first instance here, right, we can save that, and this is going to be an array. We'll save that. Okay, and we're basically going to set it up with that. And if we look at this again, it's refiner, smelter, fabricator. And what we need to do for this is basically copy that, and by default we are adding these things in. Okay. So as I've said before with everything, you just gradually build it up piece by piece. Don't try and do absolutely everything at once. Okay. And that's wrong. That should be fabricator. Right. And once we've done this, we can then start building out from here. And we can do the likes of our drag drops. Right. And we can get that working. And now I'm not 100% sure. Right, okay. It's lowercase w, which is fine. Just need to take our time with this. Get it right. We could actually use the building type, and we may change to that at some point. But anyway, we want one more, and that's our full list. Okay, and we want to turn this category into player options, right? And we want it to be saved. Okay. So give me 1 second. Okay, so now basically what we're going to do is we're going to come back to our main hotbar and change all this. Okay. and we need a controller. So what we're going to do is we're going to say player controller, get player controller. We're going to cast to FE controller. Then we're going to promote this to variable. Then we'll change the name to controller. And we'll drag that out of the way. And this is going to come after we do this. So we drag that to there and to there. So we're going to need our controller, right? Because we're going to need to find out what our hotbar settings actually are, right? So we're not going to do this per se. What we're going to do is we're going to say controller, get controller, and then we're going to say R get building hotbar. Then we're going to say for each, and we're going to have to do a for each loop. Now this is going to be a bit weird because both of our things are going to change now, right? Both of our fill blanks and our actual loop is going to change, right? If it equals none, we're going to say not. Right? And then we're going to say branch. Okay. So if it's nothing, what we're going to do is we're going to fill a blank. Okay? And we'll be able to test that. Right? And this fill blanks is going to be slightly different because it's not going to be blanks to fill, it's going to be blank column. Okay. So we're going to do that. And we're going to save that for now. We're going to go back to our hotbar. And we're going to get the index. We're going to say fill blanks. And it's going to be this index here. Okay. and we're not actually going to be doing a call count anymore. It's going to be all coming off of this index. Right, but so we're going to be deleting this part. And this is going to be going in here. And this is going to be going in here. Okay. And this is going to be deleted. And we're going to give ourselves a bit more space again. We're going to delete this because it's no longer necessary. We're going to push this out. Actually, what we'll do is we shall push this whole lot out here. Then we shall drag this stuff down to here. And then this is going to go there. And this is going to go here. That's going to go there. Right, and we'll drag this over a bit. Okay. And our index we're going to do a reroute node, and that's going to go, and that's going to go, and we're probably going to add one to this. And that's going to go in there. Okay. So if we save that and we change the fill blanks, and that's going to go. And that's going to go directly in there. And that is going to be +1. And then it's going to go in there. So we're going to drag these down because we've got a node in the way there. Drag that to the right a bit. Drag this down a bit. And we're going to be doing this again, so I'm going to copy this. Right, so save that. And we'll go back to our event graph. And we're going to delete that. And we're going to paste that. That's going to go in there. And we'll pull this down to here. Just to make it flow a bit better. And we shall do that. We'll pull that off and then we'll say +1. Okay. We'll drag these up a bit. Do the same thing here. Drag these down a bit. Right, that looks better. Save that. And then we'll try it, shall we? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll stop it just now and we'll save all. And then we'll try it. Okay. Interesting. Four and 6 are missing. Okay. So if we check our controller, research and storage container, and that's because that's spelt wrong. And that's storage container without a space. Okay. So that's cool. There we go. Right. So, the interesting part of this is we should be able to move something from like 6 to 10 and it should still work all fine, right? So we could move the metalworks, copy that, paste that, press play, continue this. Yep, there we go. Okie dokie. And I think on that, guys, at this point is a good place to take a break, because the next section is either going to be copying this code over to give our our connector values, or it's going to be the drag and drop, which I think I'll do tonight. So if you've enjoyed the stream, hit the like and subscribe. Also check out the description for Discord, and if you want to support, then there's a link for my game on Steam in there, which would help even if you just add it to your wish list. And there's also a link to my Patreon. So thanks for joining, and I shall see you this evening at 8 PM Central. Bye bye for now.